How's it, Godzilla fans, kaiju fans, collectors, and just general people of YouTube? This is Chanzilla1964 coming back to you with another figure review. This being the second movie set review. This time we're going to be reviewing the newly released Bandai movie monster series Godzilla 1955 and Anguirus 1955 from Godzilla Raids Again, or Gigantus the Fire Monster, or whatever other name you guys may know the movie by. Fact of the matter is, the movie came out in 1955, featured both the first Anguirus and the second Godzilla facing off in the first ever kaiju against kaiju deathmatch. But with that being said, let's get right into the review. Okay, so we're going to save Anguirus for last, but starting off with detail for Godzilla 1955, his detail is really nice. Like, from all the scaling with detail work, it's very nicely defined. I really like all the way that the suit's folds are implemented into this too. Look at the kneecap here. I really like this little added detail, which I'm just noticing now. How there's this little sag over the foot. Got some sagginess here. Just a lot of really nice detail. I really appreciate the bony hands for this guy, and they look really gnarly, like very kind of vampire-esque, which I'm kind of noticing with this Godzilla right now, where he resembles a little more of a vampiric kind of look, which is kind of neat. You got some really cool chest detail. You're missing with this incarnation, you lose the little middle chest part, which is very kind of cool, but you still get this kind of definition where something is there, where the middle part is kind of smoothed out, whereas the sides, you just got the scaling going on. Here's the front of the kneecaps, very nicely detailed. Here's the top of the feet. Feet detail work is very nice. Then here's the other side of the body. We'll get to the face after, but the dorsal plates for this Godzilla, I think the dorsal plates are very nicely done. Detail wise, I like how they're kind of, they look pretty much how they're supposed to look. Really crazy and gnarly. Granted, in the movie they're a little more spread apart, which I don't mind because I prefer them to be kind of closer together, so it doesn't look kind of off anyways, because the suit from the movie sometimes look off. So yeah, even though granted they use different things for the suits. But before I go off on a separate tangent here, let's get to the face for this guy. The face for this guy is probably, for me, I have the old figure, long story short, but I don't have him off the shelf. But that's one of the biggest noticeable differences for me, because you can see the teeth here are a lot more defined on this figure. The ears, to me, I think the ears are the same, but the eyes are definitely different. I'm not sure if it is the sculpt or the paint. I got to take a closer look eventually, but I know for sure the teeth and the mouth, the way that it's sculpted and designed on this guy, is very different from the original 1955 Godzilla from the Memorial box. Speaking of the face though, like I said, he looks like a freaking vampire. You got the whole Nosferatu ears, nose, the fang thing going on. I mean, that's probably one thing that I love about this design, is how kind of crazy vampiric he looks. And I'm noticing it now. But just how creepy he looks in general. I mean, this face is pulled right from the movie, and I really like the face because it looks strangely human among a lot of the other Godzillas. And I might be wrong in my interpretation of it, but that's just how I take it. I'm going to give you guys a heads up right now though, while we're on the face, because I know we're going to jump into paint after this, but the paint for the eyes for this Godzilla can be a hit or miss. I got 2 figures of each of them just in case the eye detail's a little funky. But long story short, the other one, the eye detail for this one, he has a smaller pupil for some reason. It just might be a quality control issue, but it's just something to watch out for if you guys do pick up this figure. Specifically Godzilla. Anguirus, I haven't really seen any issues quality control wise, but for sure Godzilla, his eyes can be a little weird sometimes. from the two that I have for these two figures. Yeah. But hey, going into paint, we got a lot of nice paint detail over here. Even though, granted, a lot of the paint detail is pretty much black and white because of the way the movie was filmed and, you know, the time period the movie came out in was a black and white era of Godzilla films. But you got this very nice shading for the chest here. You got this kind of lighter colored stripe here. The kneecaps, you're going to have that similar lighter color. Top of the head, very nice shading. Besides that, you're going to have this kind of gray, very, very defined gray color for the toenails, fingernails, the spikes as well. And then you're going to have this really nice bone white color for the teeth, which I really dig. Strange enough, the same bone white color is used for the eyes, but I don't have an issue with it since I kind of get what Bandai was going for. But yeah, paint on this guy is very minimal, but it's still very, very good. And not to mention, the paint sadly does not go all the way down the tail, even though it is black and white, so it doesn't really show in the movie anyways, all things considered. So like I said, it's not something that I really mind, and I think really matters too much for this figure specifically. Detail for Godzilla 1955, his two arms rotate, and his legs rotate. Sadly, there is a glue seal. There is a glue seal for the tail, but sadly, the tail does not move. And there is no head articulation for Godzilla 1955. But I mean, overall for this guy as a figure, I think he's a upgrade from the original 1955 Bandai figure. Personally, I think he's an upgrade with the more screen accurate face and teeth, granted too, because that's really the only things that I noticed are kind of off with the original figure. I think this is a really nice upgrade, and if you don't have a 1955 Godzilla figure, this is the perfect time to get it, since you get, along with him, if you do, let me rephrase that, since you can, now you do get, you can also get with him the 1955 Anguirus figure. Yes, we finally have a soft final 1955 Anguirus figure, and wow. For this being the first release for this guy, this is an amazing, and I rarely swear on this, it's more so 64's thing, but this is an amazing figure. I mean, starting off with detail, we have all this amazing scaling detail for Anguirus here, going all the way down his neck, his arms, his legs, all the way down his tail. I mean, the scaling detail is amazing. Like, I've noticed Bandai's been really upping their game in the scale department, especially with the recent, you know, Heisei Ghidorah. I mean, look, even under the stomach here, you got all of this nice scale work, and it's kind of cool that there's this transition where the C image for the suit, quote unquote, I'm going to say the suit here, there's no scales, and even for the chest here, there's some scales that are missing. I'm not sure if that's just an Anguirus thing, or if that is something actually from the suit, but I'm digging it. This little detail kind of things over here that, you know, just little special things added in there. Even on the neck, you got these little scratchy details. Yeah, I'm going to call them scratchy details. Very, very nice. I mean, they continue up to the face too. I mean, there's a lot of real cool little things, little additions that you notice on this Anguirus figure, and it's just wow. I mean, the face detail especially, I never noticed this in the original suit, but it looks like kind of these little Godzilla kind of scale things going on, or the beginnings of it rather for the face. I'm really digging it. Which, by the way, since we're on the face, this is a movie accurate Anguirus 55 face. I mean, need I say more? Let me compare them. Need I say more? Am I right? Movie screen accurate. Love the face. Love it, love it, love it. They even have the detailed tongue in there, and each teeth is individually sculpted. I was watching, was it Shinra Jira's review before I got this figure because I was kind of anticipating and I couldn't wait to see what this figure looked like. But he's right, now that I have it in hand, which by the way, shout out to Shinra Jira, for me, one of the top soft vinyl Bandai reviewers out there. But this is Bandai's finest teeth work. I agree. Like, they put a lot of love in this figure, and I'm surprised this wasn't like a special anniversary figure. Which, by the way, I don't know when the heck the movie came out, what day, and in what year it came out either, if there's any anniversaries coming up, but there is so much love that was put in this figure. It's just wow. And I didn't even get to the carapace yet. Before I get to that though, spiky details on the tail is very nice. It's interesting how there's no spikies over here, but it's still cool. And I gotta look at the suit, but I think this is suit accurate. Love it, love it. The feet detail is very nice over here. Even under the foot detail for both sides of the feet. Then you got the little claw hands. I'm gonna call them hands. They're not even feet anymore. I would consider these hands. Got the hand details over here. Very nice, very nice. Very rough texture. Very rocky kind of too. And look, even more of the scratch marks under the hands. Yeah, I'm in love with this figure right now. Finishing off the head detail, we have a little detail at the edge where the crown meets the head and where the horn meets the nose. That's about it for that. Really, really nice detail. Even the top of it is really, really cool. Never really took a clear look at it, but yeah, I really, really dig it. Now, getting to the carapace here. I'm kind of lost for words for it because while I do have a little, hesitations about it, overall it's really, really nice. Because for me personally, whenever I saw this Anguirus, I remember his shell being a lot more square, even though, granted, this is a pretty square Anguirus shell. Like, for me, I thought Bandai would have had the shell kind of less curved to the body, even though this honestly actually really works out well. Having it in hand, it doesn't really bug me, but initially it kind of bugged me, like, it's not as square, and there's not that noticeable separation for the carapace, you know what, it's there. I mean, it is there. And those were just the concerns that I had, even though it completely went away when I got this guy in hand, because I mean, look at all the small detail work on this guy's shell. This is all over the shell, in between each little horn, and I mean, it's just amazing. And the attention to detail on the horns now, how you have the edge over here, then you got kind of each little layering thing going on, and as it kind of faces up, and then you have this detail all the way around his shell. I mean, it's just beautiful. It's beautiful. It's amazing work on Bandai's end for this whole shell. What I found interesting when I was looking at him in hand is how these horns kind of, the back ones over here, kind of get molded into the figure itself, which I don't mind. It's just something interesting that I thought Bandai did. Not sure how I feel about it, to be honest, quite yet, but I know it's not a bad feeling. And that finishes off for detail. Detail is amazing. The paint is also amazing because I believe he's supposed to be black and white too, even though granted, he does have a little red in the mouth, which I did notice. I don't know what's up with that. But the paint that we do have is really, really good. All this bone white paint for the horns and the teeth, all very nicely done. And then you got the kind of a lighter bone white on the nose horn. I really like that too, which granted, the nose horn coloration kind of coincides with the paint they use on the toenails and the fingernails, so I can kind of see where they're going with that. Now granted, they didn't have to paint the carapace, but they did anyways, with this kind of ashy gray paint, and it's really, really nice. Really, really nice. I mean, to be honest, it was kind of black and white, so it just, I'm not 100% sure exactly. Just besides that, what Anguirus is supposed to be colored and look like. So for me, I'm gonna say paint's perfect. It's also been a while since I watched the movie, so I gotta rewatch the movie. I gotta rewatch to also see if the tail over here had any kind of coloration. I don't think so, because this looks pretty screen accurate to me, paint wise and all that. So yeah, paint for Anguirus is, I wouldn't say amazing, but it's really, really nice for what we have. Let me put it that way. Amazing for me would have been if they actually, and this is just a personal preference, even though I get it. I get what Bandai was going for. But amazing for me would have been them painting it in the fashion of their colored suits, what the actual suit colors were. Even though granted that can be something Bandai does down the line. Because I know they didn't do it for the 1954 Godzilla, where they painted what his suit is actually supposed to look like. They stuck with the black and white. And granted, this is a black and white film too, so they stuck with the same thing, even though they didn't do it with the mouth. But no, that's just a personal preference, honestly. For all intents and purposes, the paint is really, really good here. Like I said, amazing. Getting back to Anguirus over here, though, to finish him off, we have Articulation. His arms can move all the way around. Just be careful of the spines, because the arms do rub against the spines. His back legs can, I'm just gonna say, his back legs have articulation. I would not recommend moving them all the way around because of the spines over here possibly getting scuffed, yeah, by that. There is a gluteal at the head over here for Anguirus, but it does not move. I do not recommend breaking that. There's a gluteal here, at the waist. The waist does not move. Don't break that either. There is a seam over here, though, at the tail, and the tail also moves. So for Anguirus, like I said, Bandai put a lot of love in this figure, and it really shows. 5 points of articulation, amazing, amazing detail work. The paint is really, really good too, more than what I was expecting. Granted, I mean, this is like the perfect Anguirus 1955 figure. It's perfect. It's perfect in every way. Then it brings us into size comparison. So, yeah, Anguirus might be a little big for my taste. For me, he seems like he's in the 8-inch scale, at the very least 7-inch scale. This doesn't look like a 6-inch Anguirus, personally, because if he was to stand up on his legs here, like, oh, okay, no, this is still like a 7-8-inch Anguirus figure, because like if he was to stand up on his legs here, I can kind of see it working. It's just, I don't know. He seems a little big for this size up anyways. Like if Godzilla was maybe 6.5 inches, I can see it working. But, you know, it's still not a big thing for me. It's just something I noticed. And it's kind of hard not to notice. Playability-wise, it shouldn't affect playability-wise, because Anguirus is quadruped in this stage. And you can honestly have him doing this stuff and duking out like that. I mean, honestly, it still looks decently movie accurate, especially with Anguirus and Godzilla fighting, where Anguirus' head is like bigger than Godzilla's. This works. This definitely works. And here's a bonus. If you're gonna have Godzilla biting Anguirus' neck, this will work as well, because Anguirus' neck is just long enough to have Godzilla's face fit in there. So yeah. Playability wise for these two is size works out perfectly. Movie accuracy, it may not be as accurate for some people as it is for others, because I'm kind of torn between if this is actually movie accurate or not. I'm not 100% sure myself. I feel like he's a bit bigger, but then again, Anguirus, I always felt was a smaller monster. That's just me. Let me know in the comment section down below if this actually is size accurate, because I'm actually really curious now. But so that this review doesn't drag on any longer, overall, if you guys do not have a Godzilla 1955 figure and you're trying to collect all the Godzillas, you should definitely pick this guy up. If you love Anguirus, you should definitely pick this guy up, because this is the first ever Anguirus, and this is the best Anguirus figure Bandai has put out ever, in my opinion. Even though I still do love the 1968 one, but this is the best one so far. Overall, if you guys like the Showa series of Godzilla, heck, if you're a Godzilla fan in general, or even if you're a fan of old vintage monster movies, which this movie was an old vintage monster movie, I'm just saying, you guys should definitely pick these figures up, because they are well worth it. Pick them up before they hit the aftermarket, because I'm sure the prices aren't going to be pretty afterwards. But you guys should definitely pick them up now if you do have the chance. If not, there's still going to be other options, and still going to be other chances to pick them up still. But I would say get them as soon as you can, before they do eventually run out. So overall for these guys, if you like Godzilla and you're still trying to collect all of your Godzillas, if you don't have a Godzilla 1955 figure, you guys need to get this one. In my opinion, the more movie accurate one compared to the original Memorial Box one. And if you guys love Anguirus, you guys have to get this guy, because he's the first Anguirus, and he's the best Anguirus figure that Bandai's ever put out. I do love their 1968 one, but this is by far the best one. No question. No question. But I mean, in general, if you guys are a fan of vintage monster movies, if you guys are a fan of Godzilla, heck, if you guys are a fan of the Showa era, which granted, I'm going to say this now, this was a vintage monster movie, you guys should pick this up, because it's an awesome collectible, and personally, you're going to get your bang for your buck with these two figures. Not to mention, you get both of them from the same movie. The only thing we're missing is a pagoda, but, that's not a kaiju, that's a freaking building. Anyways, though, that'll just about wrap it up for today's review. If you guys like this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button down below. If you guys think I may have missed anything, heck, if you guys do know the sizing, if this is accurate, and actually, I'm kind of curious, if you guys do know the accurate colors for this guy, because I know this guy is actually, his suit is kind of a greenish color, the top was kind of gray-white, and this guy was a little brown. Let me know in the comment sections down below that too, what the colors were, and if the size is accurate for these guys. Yeah. And if you like what you see on that channel, do be sure to hit the subscribe button. And heck, if you feel like it, share this video, because it helps us to kind of get out there, and it helps us to grow our fan base too, because we hope to be making a lot more shorts moving further into the future. Yeah, we just pretty much hope to be making a lot more shorts, because I do plan on having a short come out for these two, and do be expecting these two to be painted, which I hate to do it to them, but you know what? This ain't the Memorial Box one, so I don't feel exactly all that hurt about it. And this guy, he deserves, I'm going to give him some personal Chanzilla paint love, customization love, because I've done it for Varan, Gorosaurus, Baragon. I've custom painted all of them, even though for some they're more noticeable than others. And for this guy, I don't know if he'll need paint. If he does, if I do though, then it'll probably be a little accents of brown here and there. It won't be noticeable, because like I said, the paint for these guys are pretty much amazing. Yeah. But this has been Chanzilla 1964 saying until next time, guys. Peace, peace.